Hello, welcome back to another watercolor painting. My last watercolor video, I talked about letting the water decide the shape for me, and I took that concept farther with this painting. For the first layer, I randomly moved my brush around, and at some point I darkened some of the red areas to make a better form, just followed by my decision that left me stumped. I added all these gray spikes. I wasn't thinking when I was doing that, I just put my trust into the movement on the water, hoping that would give me something to work with, and it definitely gave me something to work with. I sat there, looking at what's in front of me. Not much work was done at this point. I could have easily just thrown it away and started fresh, but I had to continue. It's what felt right to me. I divert my attention to other parts of the painting, slowly working on the gray areas until it's all done. This color palette works really well, but I think the blue's a little too intense, so that's something I'm going to replace in the future. The painting also was a bit rough to get through, but it ended up looking good. I'm becoming a little bit more adept with this medium. There's this big canvas I bought last year. I wanted to make a very geometric painting of some clouds or fog on top of a dark sea. I spent weeks, maybe 2 months on this. There's a lot of measuring, which I think just ruined it for me. It became very tedious. There was this other drawing that I really wanted to work on that was like tombstones, but I wanted it to be really, I guess, in perspective. And so it's a lot of measuring, which also killed that drawing for me. Anyways, the painting sat in my room for a long while. The time passed and I got a different idea to just use a palette knife, but I didn't really know what to paint. I just started painting. I felt I was going somewhere with the knives, but it just ended up feeling frustrated in the end. And the paint was making me feel weird. I could smell the acrylics for weeks, the scent was stuck in my nose. I don't really know why though. Because of this, I exclusively paint outside now. I knew I bought acrylics, but every so often I checked the label just to make sure they weren't oils. These were heavy bodies from Liquitex. I never got an issue with the soft bodies. The whole experience was kind of odd. I also can't decide if I like the heavy bodies or the soft bodies more. When I use the soft bodies, I go through the colors I mix incredibly fast. It's somehow not enough to cover my canvas, but with the heavy bodies, it's the exact opposite. It also leaves the texture with the brush, which I don't particularly like. I wonder if oils would be a lot better for me, but I don't think I'm quite ready to deal with those. Now, it's been over a year since I last bought that canvas. I took it out of storage so that I could work on it once more, and it started a bit rough, more money was spent on this, but I finally am making progress on it. The last painting was dominated by blue, and now this one would be almost entirely red. It wasn't what I planned, but it's how it turned out. I initially tried imitating the sort of watercolor style with the acrylics, but it just wasn't feeling right. I was adding more and more paint until I finally got something fleshy looking with a very dim light spot on the side of things. I let it dry, took it in and started drawing on it. The way I draw, I think makes me stand out as an artist. By no means the only one that draws weird detail shapes, but I think it's something that's a bit unique. I spent $80 on Posca pens and some brushes. I use the Posca pens, but I don't like the color. They're quite different from the Cap. I think they're more vibrant. I just don't really bother trying to figure them out. I just go to my trusty multi-liners. And I like how the painting is, but it's just too dark. The next day comes, and I know I want this to be a very red painting, and I need to make it brighter so you can actually see what I'm drawing. I like listening to horror stories or just creepy things, but this day was a little different. I see a video titled something along the lines of not safe for life, disturbing things on the internet. I felt it was clickbaity and it was one of those like iceberg videos, but I still click it. It's over an hour long, so it's something I can listen to for the entire painting session, but the stories I heard in that, they were really interesting in a tormented way. I don't really want to get too much into the topic in this video since that's not really what this channel is about, but it gave me this idea to add a bit more gore to the painting. It wasn't much more I added. I just have lines going in many different directions, and I try making it look like clumps of tumors or muscles. I have hit a roadblock with it. It's kind of ruined my pens. I bought a fresh pack of the multi-liners, but they just stopped working after a few minutes. I tried using on paper, they still don't work. I'm not sure why, but I guess drawing on paint isn't the best idea. I'm probably gonna have to end up buying more Posca pens, but I don't think they have super fine ones. It just sucks I have to spend more on this painting that it's cost me like over $500 at this point. I started using a PS2 emulator. I've mentioned before that I'm playing Persona and the Shin Megami Tensei games, but when I'm on the PS2 it feels a bit of a hassle because the controllers are wired, so I have to be close to my TV, which is a bit far from my bed. Saving on the emulator is also a lot faster, and SMT, the Digital Devil Saga, takes forever to save the game. I have to go on my phone or just do something else because it takes a while. But on PCSX2, it's almost instant. Getting the BIOS for my PS2 and turning my games into ISO files were a bit of a venture. I wasn't too sure what I was doing, and when I went to convert my games, I used the wrong disk drive or something, so I'd get an unusable image file. Then the following morning, I saw I wasn't set to the DVD player I had connected to it. It was worth it though. Now I get to play these games on my laptop. Might be a good thing that I have, since more games don't really want them on PC. Or they have Bad Port, Cough, GTA Trilogy, and Nocturne. Or at least that's what I've heard of Nocturne. Either way, it's cheaper for me to get the PS2 version. I think I might also be able to play PS1 games on it, but I'm not too sure. I don't have any to begin with, and if I were to buy PS1 games, they'd be the Persona games, which are in the hundreds of dollars. I also won't be downloading any SO files because I don't want to get scurvy. This is the part where the gray spikes actually ended up looking like something nice. I added lines and shadows to the places that I think are fitting. I just tried using the whole general painted area. I still don't know how I made the spikes work, but if I can rescue this, anyone can make art too. Years ago when I was in school, I don't remember what we were doing, but me and some people I hung around with were in an art room and we were supposed to use watercolors. By this point, I really only had experience with them as a kid using the little Crayola things, but I guess people believed in me since I was known for drawing at this point. I tried making a nuclear explosion in the middle of a city, which I think was based off of a drawing I did like prior. I couldn't really control the medium. The buildings were in bad shape, not because of the explosion, but because of my inability to make them. And the guy next to me who was in the group, I assume was also a beginner. He made this like landscape with destroyed stone walls, the sky was blue, brown mountains, and it looked really nice. It looked like something Van Gogh would make. And he made this out of Crayola watercolors, which ended up looking really good. Well, this is going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.